GoPro. Just hearing this name alone, in our minds it almost automatically becomes synonymous with action cameras. A brand that was once the absolute symbol of adventure, of breathtaking moments, of the feeling of living life to the fullest, captured in every shaky yet emotional frame. GoPro was once there, at the very top, where no competitor was strong enough to challenge it. But then an uncomfortable question began to emerge. What happens when such an icon starts to show signs of shaking? And why would a name that once dominated an entire market gradually lose its own halo? This is the paradox we are going to dissect today. How can a company that was once the ruler of its field stumble like that? Let's look back at GoPro's recent journey to see what truly happened, and whether they might be putting themselves in a difficult position. Before we dive into the video, if you have any interesting questions or topics in mind, please leave a comment below this video. And now, let's begin exploring the article. Alright, let's begin with the first number that hits us straight in the face, 37%. Yes, negative 37%. This is the revenue decline GoPro recorded in just one quarter compared to the same period last year. This is not a cyclical slowdown or a temporary step back to regain momentum. No, it sounds more like a massive alarm bell ringing loudly at a time when GoPro was already standing on unstable ground. And if that still isn't shocking enough, here comes the next blow, a net loss of up to $21 million. What does that mean? It means the company is not only selling fewer cameras, but it is actually burning cash just to keep its operations running. So to fully understand this story, we will go through 5 main parts step by step. First, we will take a hard look at the alarming numbers. Next, we will examine the new product that GoPro has just launched to the market. Then, we will place everything into the broader context of how the market itself has changed. Next, we will dissect GoPro's internal decisions and strategies. And finally, we will conclude with an overall picture, what truly happened. Now, let's begin right away with part 1, results that are far from heroic. Take a close look at this chart. The number of units sold has dropped by as much as 18%. But the most concerning issue is not just that number itself. The real problem is that this decline happened even though GoPro had just launched a new product. In the world of consumer technology, a new product is usually a short-term dose of adrenaline for sales. But here, that effect is almost non-existent. And that is the most dangerous signal of all. It shows that not only is overall demand weakening, but the brand's appeal, once GoPro's strongest weapon, is also facing serious trouble. These numbers are not lifeless, and they are telling us a very clear story. GoPro is not just selling less, it is standing in front of a much deeper crisis than what appears on the surface. To put it bluntly, the Hero 13, GoPro's biggest hope during this turbulent period, failed to deliver the necessary boost. The sales momentum they had expected simply did not materialize. There was no surge in demand, no strong wave of upgrades from users, and certainly no sign that the market was returning to its once enthusiastic phase. This immediately pushed the company's entire strategy into an extremely high-pressure state, where every passing quarter feels like a survival test. And from here, an important question must be asked. Could the problem lie within the product itself? Now, let's move on to part 2, to take a closer look at the main character of this story, the Hero 13. From a technical standpoint, GoPro clearly did not neglect its efforts. The battery has been improved, all offering better endurance for extended shooting conditions. The stabilization system continues to be upgraded, becoming smoother and more stable, especially in situations involving intense movement. The new mounting system is also more convenient and flexible, making the installation of accessories quicker and cleaner. Clearly, these are all very practical upgrades, even necessary when viewed from a user experience perspective. But the issue is not whether those upgrades are good or not. So the more important question is, who are they appealing to? The answer, if we look at reality directly, is that they mainly appeal to loyal users. Hardcore fans who have been with GoPro for years, who are familiar with the brand's ecosystem, who already own several previous generations of cameras and are willing to upgrade for a slightly better experience. For this group, the Hero 13 is a reasonable step forward. But for new users, or for the mass market, those upgrades are not strong enough to create a feeling of must buy. And this is exactly where GoPro's core strategy becomes very clear. They are not trying to create a revolution. They are not attempting to open up an entirely new playing field or redefine the action camera in today's context. Instead, GoPro has chosen to refine its existing product, to fine-tune, improve, and optimize what they have already done well in the past. In other words, they are not building a new playground. They are simply renovating their old one. A safe choice with lower short-term risk, but also the very limitation that prevents the Hero 13 from becoming the breakthrough boost that GoPro desperately needs. But wait, the story does not lie solely within GoPro. To fully understand the issue, we must look outward to the world beyond, because powerful storms are forming, and GoPro seems almost powerless against them. Here, two massive forces are emerging at the same time. First, the market has become saturated, and second, far more dangerous, is the rise of smartphones that are increasingly good enough. Combined, these two factors create a direct, potentially fatal blow against GoPro. So what does market saturation actually mean? Put simply, the pond where GoPro is fishing is no longer expanding. The segment of users who truly need action cameras, such as professional athletes, hardcore adventurers, or extreme content creators, has always been relatively narrow. More importantly, most of them have already owned a GoPro for years. They are not new customers, but existing users who only upgrade occasionally when it is truly necessary. When the market no longer brings in new customers, growth is almost entirely dependent on selling again to your existing users, an extremely dangerous limitation for any hardware company. But if that is only a headwind, and then the second threat is truly a knockout punch. It sits right in each of our pockets, the smartphone. Today's phones shoot in 4K, use AI-powered stabilization, take increasingly better low-light photos, and allow users to edit, upload, and share instantly. And from here, a deadly question emerges. Why would an average user need to buy an additional device? Why carry a separate camera, charge a separate battery, and manage separate accessories, when the phone they already use is good enough for 90% of their needs? That very question is the biggest barrier GoPro faces. Not because their product is inferior, but because the world has changed. When good enough becomes the new standard, the existence of a specialized device begins to be questioned, and that is the storm GoPro cannot easily escape from. Alright, those were the external factors. Now, let's turn back inside the company and ask a more direct question. Could GoPro's own strategic decisions have contributed to putting them in this difficult position? The answer, unfortunately, is yes. And not just one factor, but a chain of overlapping issues. The first point that must be mentioned is the pace of product innovation. Over the past several years, GoPro's updates have followed a gradual pattern, incremental improvements, step by step, but completely lacking the kind of major leap that forces the market to pay attention. A slightly better battery, slightly smoother stabilization, a slightly more familiar interface. All of that is fine, but in a fiercely competitive market, fine is not enough. When users are waiting for something truly different, GoPro delivers something so familiar that it begins to feel repetitive, even dull. The second point, and a more subtle one, is that the brand image itself has constrained them. GoPro has long been associated with extreme sports, skydiving, surfing, mountain climbing, base jumping. That image was once an invaluable asset, but over time it became an overly tight mold. As the world of content creation exploded, with everyday vlogs, product reviews, and casual travel content rising to prominence, GoPro struggled to break free from its role as the hardcore action camera. And while they were still wrestling with their own identity, competitors were moving faster. Just look at the comparison chart and the difference becomes crystal clear. On one side, GoPro remains loyal to a relatively closed ecosystem and an extreme sports-driven image. On the other side, competitors like DJI appear far more flexible. More competitive pricing, a more diverse product lineup, and most importantly, they open their arms to bloggers, vloggers, and the broader content creator community. They do not require users to live dangerously. They simply need users to record videos. But perhaps the most alarming signal lies in the revenue structure. A quick look at the chart makes it obvious. 70% to 75% of GoPro's revenue depends almost entirely on selling cameras. This is an extremely risky dependency. It is like putting all your eggs in one basket, and that basket is starting to show cracks at the bottom. When the hardware market slows down, GoPro does not have enough alternative revenue streams to compensate. And ironically, this may be the greatest tragedy of all. GoPro has become a victim of its own success. The name GoPro became so synonymous with action cameras that they have struggled to step out of that shadow to reach a new generation of content creators on platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels. The world has changed, but GoPro remains trapped in the glory of its past. Alright, we have examined everything, from the product to the market to internal strategy. Now it is time to put all the pieces together and deliver the final verdict. This is not a single misstep. It is a full domino effect. First, the core market became saturated. Next, smartphones took over the mainstream user segment. At the same time, GoPro's strategy remained too conservative. And finally, their brand identity failed to evolve fast enough with the times. And here is the conclusion to it all. The Hero 13 is not a bad product. Not at all. It is an extremely good camera. The problem is that it is a good camera for a world that no longer exists. A world that is steadily shrinking. So what future awaits GoPro? The biggest question they now face is this. Can they overcome the enormous shadow of their own identity and become something bigger, something more diverse than just an action camera? The answer to that question may very well determine the survival of an entire icon. In my personal opinion, the failure of the GoPro 13 was not because the product was bad, but because it arrived at the wrong time and was not different enough. A GoPro only delivered a slightly better version, while the market was waiting for a true breakthrough. This product mainly served loyal fans, while new users had already been drawn to smartphones and other content creation platforms. In short, the GoPro 13 failed because it represented an old mindset in a world that had already changed. If you've watched the entire video, please give the team a simple like and share to support us. And if there's any topic you'd like us to cover next, don't forget to leave a comment below the video.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel. Bye bye.